What is Point Network? What's it trying to accomplish? Give me the broad strokes here.
Nothing has changed since Snowden revealed that. So everyone is being tracked and monitored, and really like Gmail, all our private files, deleted files, especially deleted files, right? They mark it so that it's always forever there, highlighted. We need something better. We need some new decentralized social media. Then we have this movement. It's called Web3, and many people still like, what's even Web3, right? They don't understand what it is. But this is this dream that has been for decades that technologies have of a completely decentralized internet, free of mass surveillance, free of big tech influence, right, and manipulation of the public discourse. Right now, there is this movement called Web3, and many projects calling themselves Web3 and decentralized, but in actuality, they are not.
What's going on, Cowboy? In this video, we've got a new crypto project, a startup here called Point Network, and it's very interesting. It's promising to look at decentralizing the internet in a brand new way, more full way, actually. If you're new to this channel, my name is Aaron. I'm just on a journey to another Bitcoin, looking for the next best project, and I like to interview people who are like really coming up with brilliance and genius and like life-changing, industry-shaking projects. And I want to steer clear from all these other scams and all these other like flash in the pan stuff. I really want to get to the best people out there. And in my opinion, looking through YouTubers and looking through their channels and all that stuff, because they get paid to shill, it's kind of difficult, and you don't know who to really trust, but you can make decisions for yourself. And in this video, I do these AMAs because I think this is the best way for you to make your own decision yourself. I get to ask the questions, I get compensated for this, but you get the best source of information from their horse's mouth, right? To our cowboy ears, to our lizard brain. We have to make the best decisions we can for our next financial investment in crypto. And so without further ado, we're going to go into Point Network with Serge, and he's the founder and CEO of Point Network. And I have just this quick introduction of him. This is an AMA, not a lecture, because we are looking at the world's first full 3.0 architecture. We are here to grill them and see what they bring. Point Network decentralizes everything. Serge, welcome to the channel.
Well, thanks. Howdy, Aaron. Thanks for having me here. It was a very nice introduction.
Of course.
Yeah,
Glad that you're here. I'm looking forward to getting into Point Network, but before we do, I want to get into who you are. I believe that when I invest, I'm investing in the people as well. So, Serge, maybe give me a quick synopsis, background story of who you are coming into crypto. What'd you do before crypto?
Okay. I also have to do a quick disclaimer because we have a really good legal team, and they prep me really well that whenever the words like investment comes in, right, I need to tell that okay, it's not an investment, it's not a speculation, it's a utility token. What we are doing is a product. If someone wants to do investments or speculations, like you can go somewhere else, like Luna, and we are doing some trying to do some useful stuff, and the token that will power the network will be used for the network itself, for this decentralized internet that we are building, and we have built the version of it. Yeah, so I started. I didn't even go to college. Right after high school, I was already into computers and everything, and so I went right to work, and I was a computer repairman for a few years. And then I figured that being a programmer, being a software engineer is a cozier job, right? Because you don't have to go anywhere. You can just sit behind the screen. Although you might have some health issues because you're sitting all the time behind the screen, but at least it's more cozy and can be done remotely. And then, so I did some software engineer projects, and then led to me leading some teams. And then in 2014, someone asked me to create a cryptocurrency exchange. And they asked, okay, you're a software engineer, can you create a cryptocurrency exchange? Well, it's one of those clients, like if you have clients, let's say on Upwork, they can say, hey, so you're a programmer, we need Facebook, we need a Facebook loan, and we have $500 and we need it in next week, right? And me being young, I'm like, okay, let me try, right? So I should have just sent them to hell right then and that, but it really helped me to kind of get into this crypto world. And I tried, and we had a cryptocurrency exchange called SBTC, but then didn't work out. But that allowed me to enter into this cryptocurrency sphere and at least figure out like what's going on, because before that I had no idea what crypto is, Bitcoin is. And then finally I had the task to actually go there. And that led to some more projects that we did, and we went into payment gateways, etc., etc. And then suddenly this idea, so more and more when I was into crypto and studying the Satoshi Nakamoto, and not only just the white paper, but he wrote a lot on Bitcoin Talk forum, etc., etc. And then Ethereum came along, and I was kind of so on one hand I saw this crypto influence, and on another hand I saw all this all this news about like Snowden, the NSA, right? That right now like everything is being recorded, and every file is being streamed into the NSA data centers in Utah, right? And still to this day, like it was 2013, but like 9 years later, it's still happening. And so that led me to some brainstorm. And then one day I decided, oh, it would be a cool idea to have this decentralized internet, right? Where actually this cannot happen. There is no mass surveillance, and there is no security and more privacy, and big tech cannot do this and that. And other people were talking about this, right? But nobody kind of came to how to do this properly, right? And now everyone is talking about Web3, but a year ago when we started this, like nobody was talking much about this before Elon and Zuckerberg went into Meta and metaverse and all this stuff. So now everyone is talking about this. But yeah, that's kind of how we like that short timeline, short bio.
Got it. So you're a software engineer who tried to create a crypto exchange, had a lot of projects, payment gateways and stuff like that, and that's what brought you right into crypto. Okay, so tell me, what is Point Network? What's it trying to accomplish? Give me the broad strokes here.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like I explained that nothing has changed since Snowden revealed that. So everyone is being tracked and monitored, and really like every email we send, every Zoom call we have is being streamed into NSA data centers right now, right? And nothing has changed. Gmail, all our private files, deleted files, especially deleted files, right? They mark it so that it's always forever there, highlighted. And on the other hand, we have this topic of big tech. So we know that before, like 2 years ago, if I tried to explain Point Network, not many people talked about censorship, etc. But now everyone talks about this, right? Too many things have happened with big tech, with Facebook and Twitter and other platforms. And so now everyone knows that we need something better. We need some new decentralized social media. And now with Elon buying Twitter, it's even more obvious, right? That this is an issue. Then we have this movement. It's called Web3, and many people still like, what is it? What's even Web3, right? They don't understand what it is. But this is this dream that has been for decades that technologies have of a completely decentralized internet, free of mass surveillance, free of big tech influence, right, and manipulation of the public discourse. Because right now, Facebook can literally, if they want to change the public discourse, in one hand they can suppress voices of one group and boost the voices of another group. And we wouldn't even know, right? Because we would just not see the news that we would want to see, and we would see only what they want to see, right? But right now there is this movement called Web3, and many projects calling themselves Web3 and decentralized, but in actuality they are not, right? So let's say we use like an example of Uniswap, right? So Uniswap uses uniswap.org, which is a centralized domain. And then the storage, there is some server that is serving the front-end files, JavaScript, CSS, right? Or even if it's on IPFS, it's still being served by Cloudflare, which is a centralized service. And then we continue to use MetaMask, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is when the war between governments and big tech and Web3 projects actually ensues, and it's going to be very soon, like, what are people going to do? Because the government will win, the big tech will win, because they can just shut down the domains. So uniswap.org will be taken away, for example. They can shut down the servers, right, that are serving the storage. For example, they did this with Parler. Amazon AWS just deleted the whole platform, all the files, and Parler died after that for a while. And what are people going to do when they delete MetaMask from Google Store, right, from Google Extension Store? So this is not Web3 that we have dreamed about and that we hoped for, right? This is not really the Web3. I call it Web 2.5. So we are almost there, but not quite there. So for example, the smart contracts are decentralized, but everything else is not. And this leads to already to bizarre situations. So for example, there was BadgerDAO, a project, and they got hacked. Like $150 million were taken away because of the centralized front end. Like the contract was audited to death, right? It had all the audits and everything, but the front end was not decentralized, and that's why they got hacked. And so Point Network is a completely decentralized internet. So we went into a radical decentralization, meaning that we only have decentralized domains, .point. So in the Point browser, you cannot even open Firefox, you cannot even open Facebook.com or Google.com. It will just redirect you to a normal browser. It's completely blocked. And then there is no analytics, so cannot ping IP addresses, cannot ping servers. It only uses decentralized storage, which is on Arviv. There are backers as well, and we use them as a decentralized storage layer. And there is no MetaMask or anything because all the confirmation windows, everything is baked in. So that's the short response. It's a complete decentralization for the first time, Web 3.0, and not just Web 2.5, right? So that's what we're trying to do, and we already have the alpha, and already have users that are enjoying the product, giving us lots of feedback. So it seems like
this is fascinating. So let me just break it down again. You're saying that, so I don't know about this first one, these first problems, but the next two I agree with. The things that I agree with are there's a censorship problem with these social platforms and even websites, and there's a centralized controlled problem. It's kind of along with the censorship problem where they could quell one voice and raise the other voice of another public discourse, all that. I think we all understand. You said this yourself. I'm not sure about the everything is saved. It sounds a little conspiratorial to me, but I could believe that. I could believe that they could ping off people and say like everything, in this area, like everything in Istanbul or everything in, London or DC, everything's recorded or whatever. I could believe that. I could get there. And you bring up Snowden, but even still, they could tap my phone and my phone in the basement. You know what I'm saying? Like they could do all that kind of stuff.
The thing is that, Aaron, so yes, it sounds conspiratorial, and if Snowden didn't provide evidence that this was really happening on a mass scale, so this is why it's called mass surveillance. It's really, it's total. It's not targeting people. So for example, even Snowden says, look, I have no problem if you target terrorists. So if you target someone so you have a court order to go after. But what NSA has started to do after the 9/11, so they introduced Patriot Act, which allowed them expanded their jurisdiction, and they started to mass surveillance over all the people, including all of the Americans, right? So even the domestic surveillance.
Wow.
And it's really every call, every single SMS message, every single email, every single photo that is in your iCloud or Google or etc. And they don't even need to get into your phone because they tap directly into the servers of Google and Apple, etc. And it's known the programs are changing names. It was Prism before, etc., etc. But they have those capabilities, and they literally have in Utah. In the state of Utah, they have a data center, the NSA, you can look it up in Wikipedia, with petabytes of storage. And that's where they stream all of this stuff, right? And so it would sound conspiratorial if there was not evidence directly on Wikipedia and you could go to PDF and just read about this. But even now, people do not know about this. Yeah.
I'll grant you that is a fact. Okay, so just for the sake of our conversation, it seems like a rabbit hole that anyone can drop into, and I highly suggest people go into that because it makes the solution even better, right? And so these are the problems that it's centralized. There's no privacy, and what you're saying is that Point Network allows for a completely decentralized, fully Web 3.0 architecture, meaning that everything from the domain to the storage, to even the app store or the things that MetaMask reside on are totally decentralized, meaning no one can block it off, no one can shut it down, no one can manipulate it, and no one can check analytics. Is that about right?
Yeah, exactly right. So that's basically, we thought about if the war against Web3 starts now, what is going to happen? Which places they can attack? And we found like 5 or 6 vulnerabilities that can be immediately attacked. Like they can take away the domains, and this happens. They can take away the storage. They can even so one thing is censorship, right? So they can take away the domains. Another thing that they can go into websites and hack them. So for example, you will not even see how the funds from your MetaMask wallet would be drained because they replace the JavaScript with their own JavaScript, right? Because you never know which JavaScript is coming the next second, right? And even big websites like Bitcoin.org got hacked recently, right? So this shows that even people that seem like supposed to know what they are doing, right, for a long they are in the cryptocurrency for a lot of time, but still they can be hacked and there are vulnerabilities. And so on our platform, after we analyzed all those vulnerabilities where they can attack, then we thought, okay, what are the decentralized solutions that we can replace them with? And some of them were already on the market. Like, for example, for the domain systems, there was Ethereum name service, like Solana name service, right? And we have our own like .point domains, right? For storage, we picked Arviv, right? But there was nobody that could bring all those technologies together and completely decentralize the whole thing and have the browser connected and everything else, right? And so we replaced all the centralized part of the internet with the decentralized parts. So, for example, with the Bitcoin.org situation, right? So right now, if you have a website, cowboysofcrypto.com, let's say you have 5 people on your team. If one of them gets hacked, if all of them have access to your website and one of them gets hacked, your whole website gets hacked, right? Because there is no way around it. But on Point Network, every single update to a decentralized website, like if you had the Cowboys of Crypto.point, you can anytime, every single update to that website is a transaction on the blockchain. It's a very small transaction, but it means that first of all, it's transparent, so everyone can see the updates of what's going on. And second, you can also do multi-sig, right? So people are familiar with multi-signatures in crypto, meaning that you have a wallet and you need like 3 out of 5 people to sign on the transaction in order to spend money. But in the case of Point Network, multi-sig on domains means that in order to update some decentralized application or decentralized website, 3 out of 5 people on the team have to sign off, right? So if one of them gets hacked, that's not enough to compromise the whole website, right? So things like that that are really boosting the security profile.
Okay. So you're saying that every action is recorded, and that there's options for multi-sig changes on websites and stuff. So for further security, I've got a few questions here, and then I'm going to go into the deeper questions here. So are you saying that like for an NFT, most of these NFTs, the pictures are hosted on like a computer server somewhere, and sometimes those get down or they get deleted or something like that, and now you don't even know what you look like your NFT.
Yes.
Are you saying that? Are you saving everything on chain so that nothing can be deleted? Is that what this is?
So almost, right? So for the decentralized storage, we use Arviv because obviously we came to this problem as well. You cannot store everything on the blockchain, right? You cannot store images, you cannot store, because it would cost you a lot of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars just to store 1 gigabyte, right, on a normal blockchain. And like, for example, Steam tried to do that, decentralized social media, but still they are storing images and videos somewhere else. But on the other hand, there is on the other hand, there are things like IPFS where people can come together and store things. So, for example, if you're on IPFS, your website can be accessed by other people just by you being online. But you have to be online for your content to survive. So, if you have a decentralized Facebook post and you go offline, this will mean that nobody will be able to see your content, your pictures or whatever, right? And then there are decentralized storage marketplaces like Filecoin, Arviv, etc., right? And what they do is they have a network of decentralized storage providers that will store the file for you, and the deals are happening on the blockchain itself, right? So you pay to the blockchain, and then the blockchain pays to those storage miners, and it makes sure that the files are never down, right? So the storage miners are not just taking money, but they are storing your files. And then you can forget about it. You can upload terabytes, whatever you need, right? Your websites, etc. And they are going to be storing this on your behalf and serving on Web3. So, yeah.
Right. So storage is a big deal for me. And I did a little research on how storage is done in decentralized way. And correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the brain here, and I'm lizard brain. So there's let's say 1,000 people, and they each are running, or they have that Filecoin file, or they're running the Filecoin program or whatever. And I, as a consumer, go online. I put my file on, like I store it in Filecoin or whatever it is, and parts of that get decoded, or they get encrypted rather, and sent to each one of those people. And that's how it's stored, right, on their local computer. Is that about right?
So almost, right? You almost got it correctly. There are some few things. So, for example, the redundancy, right? So it's not being, well, it is being split in chunks, but there is redundancy there. So, for example, if you split your file into 5 pieces and give each person 1 piece, if one of them goes down, the whole file is inaccessible because you cannot download it, right? So, for example, networks like Arviv, they ensure that there is enough redundancy. So, for example, 20 or 50 people around the world are storing your file. So even if half of the Arviv network goes down, there is another half that is still serving your files. right?
And so are you taking that system and that process and using it for domains and apps, and so you're creating like a whole nother internet, as it were? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, so we're upgrading to the next generation of the internet, which is Web 3.0, right, from the Web 2.0 that we had before. And so we are bringing all those technologies together. So on the storage side, it's Arviv, right? But yeah, so you don't deal with Arviv when you open Point browser. You're just using this as a normal internet. Like, it's people don't even realize that it's the next generation of the internet until they see, let's say, they look at the domain, which is not .org or .com, it's .point, right? And then they start to realize, oh, it's actually completely decentralized and this cannot be deleted and censored, etc., etc. So yeah, you don't deal with Arviv. You just open decentralized social network like Point Social that we have, social.point, and then you post your files or whatever. And in the meantime, inside of it, all the files are being uploaded to Arviv, to the decentralized storage network, where they're always going to be online. And then the transaction that is signifying the change in your website, right? So now, or like a new post, it's being stored on the chain, right? So, but it's a small transaction, and it's a pointer to Arviv network. It's a hash pointer to Arviv network. So yeah,
So
trying to be as less technical as possible, but still.
yeah, please stay like
No,
explain
it's
it to
just
me like
I'm
a 10-year-old, like a 3-year-old. Explain to me like
yeah,
a
I know. I have this.
3-year-old.
I
Okay,
have this problem because I'm a technical co-founder, and so I'm trying to get into
I
like
can
under the hood with. But
I can tell. No, keep it service level for me. Okay, okay,
but you're
so
good.
what
You are
chain are you
understanding.
on?
You are understanding this very well. So about the chains, yeah. So we will have our own point chain, which is going to be layer one, and we are basing this off of Polygon Edge technology. So we're going to have our own
Okay.
proof of stake chain, but this doesn't mean that the whole like all of this Web3 is going to be on point chain because we are not just a chain. Like, there are chains like Polkadot and other that call themselves Web3, like Solana, etc. But the thing is, we're not trying to compete with them. So PointChain is not trying to compete with them. But because we are a whole software suite, which includes the browser and everything, the browser can connect to any chain it wants, right? Because it's a software. And so what we do, for example, we can have Uniswap. You open uniswap.point, but even though the UI is kind of stored on PointChain and Arviv, right? But when you click the button to swap from your USDC to some other token, the transaction is happening on the Ethereum chain, right? And then you can see this in your Point wallet. You
Okay.
can see all the networks. And then you go to Radium.point, and then you connect to Solana chain. And it's so transparent to you. Like, you go from one app to another, and you can connect to all the apps on all of the chains that Point network will support. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I store anything, if I
Yeah.
use whatever social media site or whatever sites that are on, or I create my own site, do I have to pay every single time for every one of those transactions?
Well, yes, it's not going to be that much, right? Because it's not a proof of work chain, proof of stake, right? And it's going to be some small small tokens, of course, because you need the transaction fee, right, to pay to the validators, and then it will be converted part of it to Arviv for storage, and it's not big amounts. And before that, we had this issue that, well, people might decide not to pay for this, etc., etc. But then later, especially in 2022, more and more people understand that if you are not paying for the product, you are the product. So yeah, you can go for free to Twitter and Facebook, and they can abuse your data and do whatever they want to them and manipulate what you see. Or you can actually go into the completely decentralized social network and transparently see the algorithm that it's not trying to put some thoughts into your head or some political adjust your political views, etc. And you pay a little bit for that. And I suppose it will be like this Web 3.0 is kind of feels like the 90s, right? So it's still not quite fast as the internet that we use now, etc., etc. But at the same time, so if you remember, before, people paid for the internet access per kilobytes as well. Maybe if you can remember the mobile phones, right?
Yeah,
You paid per kilobyte, and then kind of the providers amortize this, right? So they say, okay, people are not downloading much, so we can amortize. You pay $20 per month, and that's it. So I suspect with Web3 it's going to be similar to that, right? So big companies will still be trying to provide this access, but it will still be in the decentralized way. But they will amortize this with whatever they have.
That makes all the sense in the world. I mean, I remember when running up my bill for my dad playing Neopets for on the internet, and then somewhere along the line it just went to a monthly bill, which makes a ton of sense. So you're saying that, okay, Point Chain will be where everything is housed, but it's allowing you to connect to other chains. And every time you make a, like, even if I make a Facebook post, at least in the beginning, I'm gonna have to pay, connect my wallet and pay to make that post, whatever,
It's
like
gonna
I'm
be
guessing Polygon prices.
yeah.
But eventually there'll be something along the line that'll happen in the same way, where it will just, we'll just pay monthly or whatever for internet bill. This
Yeah.
is fascinating stuff. This is real. So are you saying the government can't see anything that happens on point, or at least can't manipulate anything that can happen on point chain?
So on the blockchains, everything is transparent, right? So for example, on Bitcoin blockchain and Ethereum blockchain, there is no encryption, right? Everything is out in the open, every single transaction, so they can see that. But there are some privacy solutions, like for example, they do all those coin joins, etc., right? So that privacy can be improved. And the same thing, like we have a roadmap, and privacy is a big part of it. But on top of that, so one of the things that we want to do is also we want to include private data, which means that, so we have a public thing this is called Point Social, right? This is a Web3 social media, but we also have another app that's called Point Mail, and this is a completely end-to-end encrypted decentralized email, which means that it uses your seed phrase, and then it encrypts. Okay. There are public encryption, private encryption. I'm not going to go there. There are three types of things. There is public. Everything is public, like on Point Social, on the social media. There is something that you can end-to-end encrypt to another user using their public key, right? So all the public keys are published, of course, because it's an address on the blockchain, and then you can encrypt your message using that. And we use that to have email, to have decentralized email. And then on top of that, you can have totally private information. For example, in Point Drive, where you can upload your files and they will stay private, even though they are uploaded to Arweave, but there is encryption on top of that, right? And this encryption is derived from your seed phrase. And also like Point Notes, for example, right? So you can type your notes, but behind the scenes, it's encrypted using your seed phrase. But if you go to another computer or another device and you log in with the same seed phrase, it will be used to decrypt all that information. Download this from Arweave and decrypt, right? So that's 3 tiers of privacy for now.
That makes sense, because you're using the wallet and then the system between public keys and seed phrases to connect and talk to each other here. So I'm following along here, and I'm sure you're dumbing it down lizard brain style for me. So I appreciate this.
You're very good.
But
I understand this.
So what now I'm thinking through here is, are you concerned with like the darker stuff of the dark web? Like some of the most vile people will still use the internet for the most vile things. Is this a concern for you? Are you, is this like under freedom? This is what they do. Like, I know you it's like you take it all in, like decentralized for everyone, but what's your mentality with thinking through that? I'm not saying you have to do so. I'm just saying, like, how are you thinking through that stuff?
Yeah, and this is how government usually enacts all the tyrannical laws that they want. They say, oh, think of these children, or this and that. And then they use that to, so this is the problem, right? We have terrorists, or we have some illegal stuff. What's the solution? They say, the solution is we put cameras into everyone's home. And this doesn't make any sense, right? To do mass surveillance, they should, like the intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies should just do a better job going after specific people and not collecting all the information en masse and just ruin everyone's encryption on the internet and ruin everyone's privacy, right? So that's the thinking. And for the legal problems, well, it's like BitTorrent, right? For example, or Bitcoin or anything like that. It's just on Bitcoin, there's not enough space to upload something illegal, even though people tried and they still did something, right? So you can look it up on Wikipedia. But the thing is, if anyone comes to us, for example, what we say is we're just a software company, right? So we are providing the software, and the end user is responsible for what they upload and what they download, right? It's theirs, right? So we just provide the software, and if someone does something illegal, yes, they should go after them. They should see, try to see whose IP address is that, and target. And there are a lot of things that they can still do, right? In order, like if they need to go after someone. Okay. But at the same time, yes, it's not the reason to break everyone's privacy and security just to go after a few people, right? It's way worse than the problem.
Yeah, I totally understand. I'm just curious how you're thinking through that stuff. But if there's still things that you can do, like some of those back end ways or whatever, that's fine.
Yeah. The thing is that the people that are using this for something illegal, they will still do illegal stuff, right? But mostly the people that are affected by these government laws and breaking encryption and mass surveillance are normal people. And then another problem is that the people that are enacting these laws and say, oh, think of the children or this or that, or think of the all these horrible things that are happening, the parade of horribles. Then they abuse those things in their favor for their political reasons or career reasons or even personal reasons. Like, for example, anyone can enter on Google. It's called LoveInt, LOVE, love, and then INT, and then they can see a lot of cases where National Security Agency people that are working there, employees, they were using this for their personal reasons, like stalking their ex-girlfriends and downloading their information and looking up their email addresses, right? So they say it's a good thing, let us enact those laws, let us put cameras into everyone's home. And then what they do instead, they don't care about what's actually happening. They don't solve the problem, but instead they just use it for their own benefits, right? So that's my thinking about it, yes.
Yeah, and that's the old adage, right? If you want a security and you give up freedom for security, you deserve neither freedom or security. So yeah. I fully get that, and especially people when there's absolute power and control over one particular area, it's like a vacuum. It always pulls the worst out of people, and they use it for their own selfish. That's a whole nother rabbit trail for me. Okay, look. Serge, I'm with you. Okay, I love this idea. I love the concept. I love the passion. I love it all. But it's right now. Is it just an idea? Is there execution behind it? Are you working?
It's done. So like you can go. Well, it's in the alpha stage. So I wouldn't upload the private information or whatever just yet. So it needs to be audited, etc. But yes, it's done. Like pointnetwork.io/download, and then you download the alpha for your like Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever. And then you can go to and watch decentralized websites, like open decentralized websites like social.point. I hope that there will be like Cowboys of Crypto.point. And all you need to do is just like register. Well, I can explain later.
So that's what that means. So if I go to your website and it says like download the alpha, right?
Yep.
That it's like the alpha version. That's what you're talking about there?
Yes, that's our latest alpha version. And we are constantly providing updates and making it better and better. So yes, that's the website. Have a backers there, and then if you click download alpha, and then so it seems that you are using Mac, it automatically highlights that. Yes, and then you just need to install it, and you will see Point browser, and you can go into decentralized websites. You can go to social.point, which is the decentralized social media, and you can already post some stuff and chat with people. We have more and more users coming in every day. And
how many users do you have? How many websites do you have? Users, tell me about the adoption here.
It's not much, but it's right now the wave starts, right? Because basically for the previous months it was just a prototype, so we are focusing on getting the platform right. And that's another reason why we don't launch the token, because we don't just want to say, hey, here's an idea and a white paper, let's just launch the token and get rich, right? So we want to have the product completely done before we start the network and we start the token.
This is amazing. This is amazing. It's you know what I mean? Like I talk to so many projects and they have this idea and they're gonna do it, but it's already in alpha. You've already got how many? Just like 10, 20, 100?
Oh no, it's like I think yesterday 100 people signed up. It's not much, but it's like it's
that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, this is so good. And this is so
now
good.
We just need to. So I was focused because I'm a technical co-founder. I was more focused on the product itself, but now I need to learn how to market it and speak on the interviews, and that's what I'm doing, so that more people download it and use Web3. Yeah, but it's really nice to see something that is being used by others. Yeah,
this sounds so good, and so I'm like. Honestly, I'm like teary-eyed. Like this is like, before I get into other questions, I just got to say, look, this is the big problem, right? Is that so much of our freedoms have been given up around the world, and it's freedom of speech, it's freedom to connect to people, freedom from even for some people in the other countries leaving their houses, and most like for me, freedom of money. Like our money is a form of slavery because we're all on the fiat system, and so there's just like this fake money with this fake freedom, and we're getting sold this lie. And so finally there's like abilities and there's ways to finally, okay, no more, here's the line, right? This is as far as it'll go, and we're coming up with different options. And if this is just alpha, I'm excited about alpha. This is why we're all here. We're here to like learn about these projects early on and just like Bravo, man. I love the idea. I love the heart behind it. And I love that it's in alpha, which is great. And I love that there's at least 100 people. And I'm going to be one of those.
For
I'm downloading it now. I'll try it out later.
thanks. Yeah, that's
Okay, I need to.
good to hear.
Before I get off my soapbox, I need to get to some of these things.
Yep.
How big is your team?
Again, you can go to the about page and just scroll and see. I don't know if it's gonna end up in the actual recording, but yes. So we have 12 developers, and then all those other departments, right? Well, the developer team is the biggest one, 20 plus people, right? And then we are hiring more, especially now in the bear market. I think many more startups that are not doing the actual job will be losing people. So maybe we can expand the team soon. But yeah, we have very good team, and I'm very happy with what they've done. Like when I started it, this was just a small prototype, but I couldn't have done the whole alpha without the help of all those great people. So yeah.
Okay. Well, how about I saw you guys had some partners here, some backers.
Sure.
And this really surprised me here. Here they are.
Yeah.
What's your relationship to these guys? FTX, are
Oh, that's that's the VC funds and companies that believed in us, and so I had to pitch it to them, and they said, okay, that sounds like a good idea, and yeah, so they backed us, like all those companies, provided funding like seed and A for VC rounds, right, and we'll have another one just before the public sale. So Arweave, of course, because we are using Arweave for storage, but so Sina and FTX, they were the leads. That was the lead fund. Very helpful.
Is there anything left about Point Network that we haven't talked about?
Well, not really. It's something that a picture is worth 1,000 words. In this case, it's better to just download and see and just interact with it, because I can talk about this for a long time. And before I could only talk about this, but now I can actually just say, hey, just like if you want to know about this, just download and see, and you can send suggestions and feedback and play with it. And it's the early community, so everyone is very early. That are ending up there, because not many people still know about this. That's what I'm trying to do, to expand the awareness.
No, fantastic. Look, I love this project. I love it. This is what I'm talking about. Like I talk a lot on my channel on like how blockchain technology really revolutionizes every single industry, and I'm excited about like how it turns everything upside down. I did not even think that it could turn the whole internet, like the foundation of the internet, just totally get a new foundation.
Yes.
So
the Web3,
fantastic.
The Web3 is just getting started, and it's very early. And whoever ends up as an early adopter, they will have a lot of advantage against people that will join late, right? Because they will know the system, they will know where to, like, even earning on Web3, it will change economy. It will be like decentralized Upwork and decentralized Patreon and all those crazy things, right? So it's good to know about this early and to really be on Web3. So it's just getting started.
Okay.
Yeah,
so give me some quick.
Sure.
I'm gonna download this thing. I'm gonna install it. What can I expect? Should I have a MetaMask set up for Polygon, or should I add the Point Network chain? What do I do?
It is really simple. You can just follow the instructions, right? After the Point browser is installed, what you do is you generate your seed phrase as usual, right? And you need to write it down somewhere, and that's it, right? And then you are logged into all those dApps. And then after that, you just need your identity, because one of the problems that we had with name systems of Ethereum and Solana and all those other decentralized name systems is that there are cyber squatters that come in and they take over a lot of domains and the names, right? So, for example, they take Elon Musk and Microsoft and Samsung, and when the actual Elon Musk or Microsoft will show up, they're like, oh, we don't want this because someone took our handle already, and we don't want to pay millions of dollars. So what we did is, for the first 6 months, you can claim your handle on Twitter. Let's say your handle is Cowboys of Crypto. And then you can claim it, like just posting an activation tweet, which will be given to you. And then you take cowboysofcrypto.point, and this will be yours. And after 6 months, like, anyone can take it. Any handle that is not on Twitter. And then you are on Web3. You can enjoy the ride, and it will feel like the early 90s, but it's really cool.
Amazing. Guys, if you are interested in still checking out like a fully flushed out Web 3.0 architecture, and they still got a long road ahead of them. But if you want to get in early, check out the links down below in the description. You saw me. I'm gonna probably come out with a video or something like that, or some live stream or whatever. I'm very, very interested in this. This is me personally. But look, there are a ton of scams out there. There are a ton of things out there that you could get your stuff. So you got to do your research, and you got to do it nice and slow and nice and well. I hope this interview was a lot of research for you. I hope you saw the passion and the fire and the intelligence behind Serge here. But check it out for yourself. Serge, thanks so much for being on the channel. Guys, thanks so much for watching this far, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, Aaron, for having me.
Bye.
Have a good one. Take care.